Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Applez, and today I'm going to talk about each zodiac sign and my thoughts on them. Aries people are direct and they're to the point. They're also really innocent and non-malicious people. They're not manipulative and they don't go behind your back. If they ever do anything bad, it's usually up front and very physical. They basically play with their cards on the table. Aries are also very competitive and from what I've noticed, they often have the highest score on everything. Whatever it is they're passionate about, they're always number one. I think Aries are good at attacking life because they're strong and they're confident and they can usually handle anything that's thrown at their way. Lastly, Aries have a very short temper and they're easily angered. Next sign is Taurus. Taurus is like food and music more than other signs. They're also very grounded. They don't really push people, but they also don't allow themselves to be pushed, right? They're like a rock. They don't move. I've also found it utterly difficult to have a decent conversation with the Taurus. I know it seems kind of weird, but from my personal experience, whenever I try to have a conversation with the Taurus, I find myself just asking them numerous questions and getting one-word answers, or they're just going off on something that has nothing to do with anything. Alright, Gemini. The stereotype is true. They are motor mouths. Geminis really do like to talk, even though that is a stereotype. I've met many Geminis who really do not know how to stop talking, but they are also very, very good at expressing themselves and they're really fun to be around. I've never really had a problem with them either. Some people think Geminis are crazy, and they are crazy, but from my experience, Geminis are really cool to be around. And there's also nothing interesting about them either. They're just expressive people. Alright, the next sign is Cancer. Cancers are big crybabies, and they're super sensitive, and they feel victimized about everything, and they blame everyone else for their problems. And this isn't a joke, and I've met Cancers who are strong and aren't victims, but I've met a ton of Cancers who are just really sad about everything, and they can't handle life, and they're just really depressed, and it's so annoying when I meet one of these Cancers because I've met like 5 of them already and it's ridiculous. I also find myself offending Cancers without meaning to. I probably offended them just now. Sorry about that. Cancers are also really good guilt trippers and manipulators. They may be really sweet and caring, but because they're so sweet and caring, it's really hard to hate on a Cancer because they're true empaths. Alright, Leo, which is my zodiac sign. Leos are selfish and lazy. They're the most selfish people. They do not care about anyone else but themselves. Just remember that. And they're lazy. They don't like to work. But it's kind of weird though, because they're super nonchalant and smooth, but competitive and driven at the same time. And they're also really stubborn. Leos have a kind of thing where it's my way or the highway. There is no compromise with a Leo because they're so arrogant with their views. Leos are also melodramatic, so they make a big deal out of everything. They love giving orders as well. On a more positive end though, they're really fun to be around and you never get bored with a Leo. The next sign is Virgo. Virgos, in my opinion, are kind of just bitches, and they're just kind of introverted. They're just not an exciting sign to be around sometimes. But what I also find about Virgos is that they're really insightful and intelligent. If you need some good advice on something, ask a Virgo, and a Virgo will lay it out for you, in a nice strategic framework. And Virgos are not necessarily nitpicky or worried about cleanliness as their stereotype is made to believe. But they are more concerned with health and fitness. And ironically, Virgos make really good artists from the people that I've met. And that makes sense because Virgo is analytical and, very particular. And, when you do things like art or any kind of skillful activity, you need a very analytical eye to do it. All right, next is Libra. Libras make you overly aware of yourself because they're selfless, and this can be kind of a good or a bad feeling. It depends. If you're a Leo, it makes you feel good. If you're probably like a Virgo or a Pisces, this can kind of make you feel weird. I really like to be around Libras because of that reason. And I also find Libras to be really funny. And I think it's because they're so relatable, right? They're the relationship sign. So they know how to read people, and they know what kinds of things to say to bring out humor in people and in themselves. And last but not least, Libras can be pushovers, or they can be defenders of the weak because they are the sign of justice. Next, we have Scorpios. So, despite all of the popularity that Scorpios get, Scorpios really aren't an interesting sign to me. Yes, they're really intense and they can be kind of cool, but ultimately, Scorpios don't really strike me as that interesting. And in fact, lately, I've met a lot of Scorpios who are kind of just assholes, and I just don't like Scorpios that much. What I like about Scorpios is that they have unique senses of humor. They're very creative and unique in style. Like, I've noticed a lot of Scorpios dye their hair a lot, or they cut their hair short if they're women, or, they just have a vibe about them that is like, that says, look at me, but don't look at me. It's kind of weird because you want to look at the Scorpio, but at the same time, they're so intense, you can't look at them too long, or else, you'll feel like they'll attack you. And Scorpios are also really smart. They know things that you don't, and they're very ruthless and ambitious in their pursuits. So for the next sign, we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a pretty awesome sign, and maybe because I'm a fire sign, I'm a Leo, so I get along with Sagittarius pretty well. Sagittarians are also a really funny sign because they're clowns and they're jokesters. They're always fun to be around, and they're super positive. I mean, they're ruled by Jupiter, so they're upbeat, they're ready to go, they attack things. They're just a great sign to be around. But Sagittarius can be really blunt about the things they say, and they hurt people's feelings without a second thought. For Capricorn, I find them to be very awkward socially. Either a Capricorn will overexpress themselves and they just sound really weird, or they just are such nerds and they're so focused on their work that they don't really have time for social skills, and so they just don't make for good social people. I've also noticed that Capricorns are divided in a way. Some are really ambitious and work hard for their goals. Other Capricorns do not have a life purpose at all. So the stereotype isn't true for Capricorns. Capricorns, however, do like to sound smart or appear smart, and they like to be respected. They're either really thin or they put on weight really nicely. And it makes sense as well because they're ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules the bones, and so these people have good bone structures. The next sign is Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is probably one of my favorite signs because I find them so fascinating because they're unique and they walk their own path. Aquarians are eccentric. Aquarians are also humanitarians. They're usually concerned with the news or what's going on in the world, and, they're very focused on what's going on with other people rather than themselves, right? They're very aware of what's going on. They're very smart. Also, one thing I've noticed about Aquarians is that they're usually left-wing or progressives. Not always, but you often find Aquarians to be socialists or people who are about the collective good, the common good. They're not selfish. They're very focused on other people. And also another thing that I have to point out is that Aquarians sometimes don't get married. A lot of Aquarians get married, but I've noticed that Aquarians are more likely to not get married. I've also noticed that a lot of Aquarians don't have children. Like, I can name like 5 Aquarians that I know that don't have children, and it's just really weird. Like, they just don't have children. And last but not least, we have Pisces. Pisces is a really random sign. You could get anything with these people. Pisces are the product of the people that they hang around most, right? Because they're ruled by Neptune. And it's because Pisces is mutable water. I kind of like to think of Pisces as shapeshifters. They can be any personality that they want to be. But a core trait that I find with Pisces is that they're shy and they're gentle people. They have very beautiful souls, and they're empathic. Pisces people are also more susceptible to abuse, unfortunately, because it's difficult for Pisces to deal with reality and to stand up for themselves. And Pisces are often enslaved by their addictions, like alcohol or drugs. Their mind is always off somewhere else. You could be talking to a Pisces face to face, and they'll still give you the impression that they're not listening to what you're saying, or that they're off in their own little world. And it's because they're ruled by Neptune. They're just delusional. Anyway, that was some quick thoughts on the zodiac signs. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'm Applez, and I'm out.